Welcome back to Press Any Button. I'm Nicky.
I'm Eric.
And I'm Michael.
And today we're talking about the legendary Phantasmagoria Pc Game from way, way, way back in the day.
Super legendary.
Super legendary. Everyone knows it, right?
Except for me.
Yeah, except for me too. Until Michael suggested it. So, Phantasmagoria is a point-and-click adventure horror game designed by Roberta Williams for MS-DOS and Microsoft Windows and released by Sierra Online on August 24th, 1995. It tells the story of a writer who moves into a remote mansion and finds herself terrorized by supernatural forces. It was made at the peak of popularity for interactive movie games and three-dimensionally rendered environments of the game itself. Spoiler warning. We will be talking about puzzles. We'll be talking about the story for this game. Also going to be mentioning some of the game contents, some graphic violence, some sexual violence, which, just... warning.
All the good stuff.
That triggers you. Maybe stop listening now. But if it doesn't, and hopefully we won't talk about it too much, but, keep listening. All right.
The sex and violence.
Yeah.
All the sex and violence. Awesome.
Everything that's included in your typical horror movie, just, anticipate we're probably going to talk about it.
Yeah, that's right.
So, Eric, what's the story with this game?
I have a lot of stories, so I don't want to beat around the bush too much.
Ooh.
All right, let's do it.
Let's do it.
So I actually want to start all the way back in 1979.
Holy crap.
Yeah, we're going way, way back.
Way back in the hippie days, man.
Yeah, with the
Peace, love, and video games.
with the founding of Sierra Entertainment, originally called Online Systems, by husband and wife Ken and Roberta Williams. So real quick on Ken and Roberta, they were high school sweethearts who married shortly after high school and had 2 kids together shortly after getting married. Both would get different jobs working as computer programmers at different points in their lives.
Okay. So high school sweethearts, didn't waste any time, got married right out of high school, and then had some babies.
Yep.
Luckily, sounds like they had pretty good jobs, so they're probably okay.
Yeah, I mean, they, decent jobs, I'd say. Not super high-paying jobs at the time.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, he said, computer programming. That sounds like back in the day, that would be a pretty good job.
They were also living in California. Kind of expensive.
Yeah, true.
Okay, so Ken, who had been working for IBM, brought home a teletype terminal one day with a text adventure game on it called Colossal Cave Adventure. Have either of you guys ever heard of that game?
I have.
No.
I've got more to add to that after you finish this.
Wait,
Okay.
what's
Some
a
interesting things about this.
what's a colossal? What did you say it was? Colossal K?
Cave.
Colossal Cave Adventure is the name of the game.
Okay, sorry. What was the thing you said he brought home?
He brought home a teletype terminal.
Yeah, what's that?
It's like an old computer
Like
/
a super
typewriter.
old 70s computer.
Yeah,
Okay.
very basic computer.
Gotcha. Okay.
So both he and Roberta got super into this game. Roberta would later buy an Apple II computer for the family, which was a bit of financial strain for them at the time. And she started playing through all these different text adventure games when she realized the graphic display capability of the Apple II could enhance the adventure gaming experience.
Wow. Revolutionary.
I mean,
Thoughts?
yeah, it sounds like super rudimentary, to combine text-based adventure games with computer graphics, but it had literally not been done before this point.
Yeah, sure. We're in the 70s, right? You
Yeah,
said.
so they literally invented graphic-based adventure games.
That's
right.
cool. But can I just say they sound like a badass couple, gamer couple back in the 70s? That couldn't have been that common.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think so. Did you say you had something you wanted to add?
Speaking of that, they've actually left the gaming industry after this game, basically, Phantasmagoria, as far as I know, Ken and Roberta Williams have not like been making games. So like since the late 90s, they haven't been doing anything except for like retired, sailing the world, just living life and loving life. But recently, they are making a new game, and it's a remake of Colossal Cave Adventure. Huh. So that's happening right now, which is kind of cool that they're like making a return to the industry with a new game.
I actually had some of that information, but I was going to reveal it later.
Oh, whoops.
No, it's all right. Yeah, no worries.
Cool.
Yeah, so Roberta would design and write their first game, and Ken would help with the programming. And the first game that they did like this was called Mystery House, and it was literally the first graphic-based adventure game. And it was a hit. It sold around 15,000 copies, which would have been a lot for the time, and they made $167,000, or the equivalent of about $500,000 today.
Dang.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And I've played that game. It's like literally pictures of stick figures. It's like the first graphics.
I was about to ask, like, what did that look like? Because I've seen Eric playing some games, and I'm like,
and it's black and white.
This?
I mean, it's like basic early game.
Yeah, like I walked in one day and Eric's playing this game, and it looks like a Word document, honestly, with like a bunch of parentheses
It's
and
an ASCII
stars.
game.
I'd never heard of this. I'm just like, what the heck is this?
What game was that?
It was probably Lindley's Cave Crawl.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, he played that for a while. And I was just like, I don't know, a whole new world. I'm like, man, I'm just learning stuff all the time. Like, I had no idea people played games like that.
Oh, yeah, they had old games. They just, that were very graphically primitive. They just, a lot of people who used to make those have kind of moved on.
Yeah. Well, I can see why they retired, because if they made like pretty much the equivalency of $500,000 on their first game back in the 70s and they came out with more games, they probably made enough where they could retire early. I mean, that'd be the dream. I wish I could retire now and just travel.
And from what I've heard, it's like the gaming industry wasn't really a thing yet. Like they kind of pioneered it. So once it became an industry, they kind of like got burned out, and they were like, no, we don't want to do this.
Yeah, I mean, if their game was literally the very first, what did you say, graphic-based
adventure game.
Game, then they almost like invented video games, sort of. Not really, but they were right up there at the beginning.
There were a lot simpler games like, Pong. There were already simple graphic games like that existed. But yeah, as far as like making like a complex game that had graphics, yeah, they were the first.
It's pretty cool.
And I could be wrong about this, but I think they made the first ever game with a female protagonist.
Oh, really?
They've got a bunch of games with a female lead, Phantasmagoria included, of course. But like, I think they predate like.
I think
a lot of those games.
Okay, I think I know this. I'm reading Ready Player 2 right now, and I think they mention this, but was it called like Princess Ninja or something?
Wizard and the Princess?
I can't remember exactly, but like I thought like in Japan, never mind. Scratch all that. I think I might be thinking of something else.
Well, there is a game called Wizard and the Princess, and you might be about to talk about this, so sorry.
No, I'm not.
But the basic idea is like you're a princess trying to escape from like a wizard, like an evil wizard, which is that theme was kind of repeated again in like King's Quest 3, King's Quest 4, and even Phantasmagoria, if you think about it. Like not exactly a wizard and a castle, but like a magician in a mansion. I mean, kind of a similar, and interesting anyway.
But yeah, anyways, well, if you don't scratch that part earlier. In the book, I just got to the part, so I haven't read the whole thing, but it was like they were talking about in Japan, it was a female protagonist, but when they brought it over to the US for the arcade, they had to take all the princess stuff off because they changed the character to a boy, so because they didn't think that boys would want to play as a girl.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's this game. I think it's something else.
I think Metroid was like that too, right? Like the first Metroid game. Like
they didn't reveal the main character was a girl until you finished the game.
And like only with the good ending, you had to like beat it in so many hours or something.
Oh yeah,
otherwise you'd never know. It's like, it's just I'm playing as this guy named Samus Aran.
Yeah, they had very little faith in you guys, like that you would be interested in anything that's not like you, basically.
Well, they weren't designing like games for guys; they were designing games for like young boys.
I know.
That's why I don't know. Sierra Online was a little different. It's kind of cool.
So they would continue to make games, and just after 2 years, Sierra would grow to nearly 100 employees with $10 million revenue. So yeah, they kind of blew up really fast. And this was, early 80s, so...
That's crazy. That's so many. That's more like employees than some of the gaming companies that we talk about now that do new games.
It would eventually blow up to like thousands, but yeah. So Roberta Williams would continue to write and design games for Sierra. Her husband, Ken, would kind of be more of the, he would go more into the marketing side. But yeah, one of the most notable series she made was the King's Quest series, which are point and click adventure games.
Yeah.
And I know Michael's a big fan of the King's Quest series.
Definitely.
Yeah, you guys did that Wings Quest like last year, where you ate wings and played King's Quest on Twitch.
Exactly. It was so fun. Got so many good memories with those games.
Yeah. This game reminds me a lot of like, I guess because it's the same type of game, but the Nancy Drew game that we played in the first season.
Right.
Like, you might actually like those games because they're like point and click adventure. It's like very similar to what these are.
Well, Nicky, I thought about you when I was picking this game out because I was like, all right, they're inviting me on the podcast. What Mega Man game are we going to talk about? Because as you guys mentioned,
you could have picked Mega Man. We haven't picked it yet. And I'm surprised. We're 3 seasons in and we haven't done Mega Man yet.
I feel like we're going to have to get to it eventually. But I was trying to think like, all right, what do like Eric and Nicky both, like what are they both going to enjoy? And what have we like never talked about? And like, Eric, you said you never even heard of this game.
Yeah.
Me either.
And Nicky, you hadn't either. So
I think maybe I've seen it on one of those like top 10 lists, from YouTube where it's like top 10 crappy video games or something. But yeah, I've not like for real thought about it or anything. So
that's perfect.
Moving on to the actual Phantasmagoria game. So development for Phantasmagoria started in 1993, and this was Roberta's first attempt at designing a horror game.
Okay.
Before this, it had been mostly like kind of comedies, adventure style. That's kind of describes the King Quest series, right?
Yeah, and definitely more family friendly.
Yeah,
not entirely. There were some games that were a little more adult. There's a few. There's like a series called Leisure Suit Larry by Sierra, which is basically like you're this guy like trying to hook up with women in a bar.
Oh my god!
And it was like before even point and click, you'd type out like hit on girl, like, and it's so silly and bad, but they're so fun.
Yeah.
And there's even like there's one called Soft Porn Adventure that was like this. It's like a text game with like really old graphics.
Oh my god! Kind of like a romance novel, but a video game version of it.
Yeah, exactly.
That's awesome.
Which is pretty funny. But yeah, mostly it was like kids games and stuff until this.
I actually had a fun fact about that soft porn game, but I'll save it for later.
Okay.
I feel like you can tell this is her first horror game, and I guess last, because like, this is the last one they did. But like, yeah, she kind of threw everything in the kitchen sink in this game that you would see in like your typical horror flick.
You're right.
Although Roberta was a fan of the horror genre and had actually wanted to make a horror game for years, she felt that software technology had not yet reached the point where an effective and frightening computer game could be made. As a result, she decided to wait until CD-ROMs were faster and could handle real actors, which she believed was crucial for a horror game because she felt the player had to be able to empathize with the characters to fear for them.
Okay. Interesting.
Makes sense.
Which I find kind of interesting because, I've definitely played some horror games. Well, maybe it's the graphics have come along so much since then.
Yeah, that too.
But I think of like Doki Doki Literature Club. Those are like...
Yeah, I've played games.
Like anime girls, and like that game is definitely scary.
Yeah. Or like the Layers of Fear. Like you play as... It's like first person. You don't even really see yourself most of the time.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, there's not really anyone to empathize with in that game.
Yeah, that makes kind of sense. I think the actors definitely add something to it, for sure. Like, I like that they have real actors. It's kind of neat.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty different for a game from that era.
I'm sure in 1995, this was like
it was
crazy. Like, oh my God, they did what? They mixed video with video games, like mind blown.
Well, I feel like graphics are always getting better and technology is always getting better, but especially like the 80s and the 90s, it improving so fast.
Yeah,
from
true, because it was so new.
8-bit
Yeah.
to 16-bit. And then this was like, as a kid, like this blew my mind. It was like, this is crazy.
Nice. So the script for Phantasmagoria which was primarily written by Roberta, numbered roughly 550 pages when completed, about 4 times the size of an average Hollywood screenplay. It also included another 100 pages of storyboards representing a total of 800 scenes.
800 scenes. That's crazy. I wonder what's an average number of scenes in like a regular movie.
Well, they said it was about 4 times as
4 times. Whoa.
as big.
She went like all out.
Yeah. Phantasmagoria was Sierra's first game to use live actors integrated with computer-generated backgrounds. About 600 scenes were actually filmed for the game of the 800 written. The total filming took about 4 months, 12 hours a day, shooting 6 days a week.
Holy crap. That's like hard work right there.
Yeah.
And the actors had to wear the same thing every single day.
Yeah, right. Yeah, because they
Yeah.
keep the same outfits.
Like she has that same orange shirt on like the whole game.
Yeah, those black pants.
She probably had like a closet full of like
The
that
same
outfit.
thing. Yeah.
Oh, that's coming up. That'll be interesting.
Do you know like how much the actors got paid? I was wondering that the whole time
I
I was
have
playing
no idea. No
the
idea.
game. I was like, I bet they got paid like $200 or something.
Probably not nearly enough.
Not for 12-hour days. Like, I don't even work 12-hour days. That's too much.
Roberta Williams wanted the interface and puzzles to be easier and more straightforward than her previous games, with the focus being more around the story and frightening atmosphere. So if you notice, the game might be on the tad easy side for most of
Yeah.
it. I think it was because it was trying to invite new players in.
Gotcha. I haven't played any of her other games, so I don't really have like anything to compare it to as far as the puzzles and stuff go.
they're so different, but like the King's Quest series, I'd say is probably harder. Like there's so many points where you're like, what do I do? I've got to like throw this pie in this like Yeti's face. Like there's weird solutions to puzzles and stuff. But yeah, Phantasmagoria seems mostly straightforward. Like, and they have the hint keeper, so you never get too stuck.
I know.
Yeah,
I
that-
love that guy.
Yeah.
Very helpful. So most of the music is a mixture of real instruments with synthesized and sampled sounds. And unlike previous Sierra games, the score was recorded live rather than using a sequencer. So that's a fun fact.
Ooh, what? That's cool. So they recorded like in a studio with the instruments and everything?
Yeah, I mean, they had the
That's
synthesized
cool.
instruments, but they recorded them live. Like,
Oh, like just like as they went, instead of pre-writing the music out, it was like improvised?
I don't
Or
know
what do you
if any
mean?
of it was improvised, but recording it live as opposed to just making the music in a sequencer. So
Yeah, what do you mean by that?
so it was recorded live, like it was recorded with other musicians also playing at the same time.
Like in a studio?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And if I'm right, it might have been a mix of both, because at least like the intro song, it's like a full Gregorian choir, all that chanting.
Yeah,
Consumi.
yeah,
Ah, like I think it was like a whole room full of
Yeah.
people.
yeah.
But
That's
maybe
pretty cool.
Yeah, but maybe not all the MIDI stuff. I don't know. Like that might have been. I'm not sure about that stuff.
It's Wikipedia, so who knows? Okay, so the original budget for the game was $800,000, and it was planned to be released in late 1993. By the time the game came out in 1995, the cost had ballooned to $4.5 million, with $1.5 million of that dedicated to building a studio that Sierra had designed specifically for the game.
Wow.
The budget issues caused some friction between Ken and Roberta Williams at the time.
Oh no. So money for the studio? Like, did they do all the shooting and everything?
Yeah,
there
they had to
for
build
the
like
video?
they had to build like a special studio just for filming this.
Could
the
they
scenes
not
in the
have
game.
just worked with like a studio that was already?
This was 1995.
I mean, yeah, they had movies and TV back then.
I think it had to do with the amount of space they needed for green screen and stuff like that.
Yeah, maybe green screen wasn't as like popular back then.
In
yet.
fact, back then it was blue screen.
Oh yeah.
Back then they used to use blue. And
Okay.
at some point it switched to green, but like you think of all these Marvel movies today that are like all just filmed all in green screen.
Yeah.
This was kind of revolutionary that like the whole game was filmed in blue screen. And then, the actors didn't even know exactly. Like, okay, imagine this door is there, and imagine this is going on, but they're just standing on
yeah,
blue
you
panels.
can definitely tell that in some of the shots. It's like I can tell you're not actually holding that or pulling that or whatever, but A for effort,
Yeah.
Yeah.
They kind of pioneered it.
So Phantasmagoria released in August of 1995 on Windows, MS-DOS, and Sega Saturn. It would be a huge commercial success for Sierra, grossing $12 million and selling 300,000 units in just the first opening weekend alone.
Wow.
It became one of the best-selling games of 1995.
So how would you play this on Sega?
Sega Saturn?
Yeah, because, do you have a joystick for Sega Saturn? Because, you kind of need the mouse. I'm trying to imagine how you'd play the game without the mouse.
I'd imagine you'd just be controlling a mouse cursor on the screen.
With your D-pad?
Yeah, with a D-pad.
So it would just, lock on to what you could pick instead of being able to just move it freely around the screen?
No, you'd probably be moving it freely with the D-pad.
Interesting. That sounds like it would take a long time. I'm trying to imagine moving a mouse around with a D-pad. I don't know. I feel it would just be hard.
I've never played the Sega port of it, but I've played some ports of old computer games that are like that. And it's so clunky.
Yeah.
It's probably just better on PC.
That's what I was thinking too.
So Phantasmagoria would receive mixed reviews, with some critics praising its innovation, graphics, and atmosphere, and others deriding its derivative story, easy difficulty, and slow pacing.
What'd you say? Ease of difficulty?
Easy difficulty.
Oh, yeah. Easy difficulty. Yeah, and slow pacing. Oh God, we're gonna talk about a lot of stuff later, Michael.
So yeah, that's my history.
No fun facts.
Oh yeah, I have 7 fun facts.
Holy moly!
I actually had more, but I cut them.
Whoa.
But I can add them later.
Well, I have one. I mean, it probably is one that you already have, but since you have 7, can I go? Can I do one?
Yeah,
I've also got a few.
Ooh.
Although I suspect some of yours are mine as well.
Probably.
So I thought this was cool because, it is a horror game. But apparently they tried to work with Stephen King to help with the story of this game. And they reached out to him many, many times trying to get him to help out. But he passed on the idea.
Yeah, I did have that as a fun fact.
Yeah. Could you imagine how scarier it would be if he worked on it? I mean, he's known for this.
Well, he didn't really know Sierra, or I don't think he really knew video games very well at the time. So I don't know if it would have actually been that much scarier.
Well, you think. I mean, he's just the king of horror stories. So
yeah, that's true.
you'd think that the story part would at least be a little more original, probably. Just a guess, because we don't really know, but
we can only speculate. It would have been way better with Stephen King.
I mean, I think it would be. And plus, it would probably sell a lot more copies, too, if you could put his name on the game.
That's absolutely true. It probably could have sold even better. Do you want to do a fun fact, Michael?
Sure. All right. Well, you might have one of these as well, but I wrote out some fun facts.
Ooh, fun facts.
Phantasmagoria was banned in Australia because of the intense sex, violence, gore, and a very controversial rape scene in the game.
Yes.
Yeah, and I'll just add on to that and say that one of the largest computer game retailers at the time, CompUSA, refused to stock the game.
Ooh.
They didn't say that was the reason. They just said some games we just don't sell.
Yeah.
But, it could be speculated. Same reasons.
Yeah.
I feel though, sometimes when you block something or you make it ooh, I'm going to get in trouble for doing this. It's people want to play it more because it's oh, this is blocked. Oh, heck no, I'm playing this thing.
Yeah, probably
or
made
it was
it more.
blocked. I got to see why it was blocked, why it was banned or whatever.
Why was this game banned in Australia? It must be really gory and sexy.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Just more controversy and attention to the game.
Yeah, exactly.
So the term Phantasmagoria refers to a 17th century theatrical horror show in which spirits of the dead were revealed in a darkened theater by the use of a modified magic lantern.
Ooh.
So it was a ancient horror show. I wouldn't say ancient, but 17th century horror show.
Yeah, that's cool.
I guess before they had haunted houses.
Yeah, back then. So this basically tricking people. Yeah.
Yeah.
Got ghosts.
It kind of makes sense because like there's a part in the game where you like read a newspaper about the old magician Carno in the game and his old. I'm sure we'll get to this, but like he had his show, which was a Phantasmagoria show. You know.
Yeah. And,
So-
and that's the title of the game.
Hey.
Yeah.
It's in there.
And that part where you are watching that movie machine thing.
Yeah, the old wind-up, like,
Yeah,
machine.
where you like put your eyes in the little binocular slots or whatever they're called, and then you like crank the movie.
You know what those are
Like,
called, actually?
What are they called?
It's kind of funny. That is called a Nickelodeon,
Oh, okay.
which is where the network got its
hey.
name.
Nickelodeon.
Yeah,
That's cool.
yeah.
Fun, learning all kinds of fun facts today.
Lots of
Not
fun
just
facts.
about Phantasmagoria.
I mean, we got more fun facts. Do you want to do one, Michael?
Sure. So, Phantasmagoria does draw some parallels to the novel and film The Shining by Stephen King.
I've actually never seen that movie or read that book, so
It's excellent. I think there's actually two versions of the film. There is like the one that's famous with like Jack Nicholson and everything that's like really good. And apparently Stephen King didn't like that movie. It's a different fact, but like so they did another version of it, and that movie's not as good.
interesting.
It's like too close to the book and not as exciting or something.
yeah.
Yeah.
But, you know, similar story, like a big mansion / hotel. Husband goes crazy, tries to murder the wife. Like, not exactly the same, but
I mean, there's
parallels.
a lot of movies or
Right.
they kind of follow that same format,
And then
like
the,
Amityville Horror and that kind of thing.
it's like a popular like trope.
Yeah.
But then the sequel, Phantasmagoria 2, has been compared to the movie Hellraiser,
Oh,
I've seen that
haven't
movie.
seen that one either.
about summoning
I suck at like watching all the classic movies and stuff.
oh yeah,
There's so many I haven't seen.
there's a lot of them out there.
Okay, so another fun fact. The two lead actors, Victoria Morcell, who portrayed protagonist Adrian Delaney, and David Holm, who portrayed Adrian's husband, Don Gordon, briefly dated in real life after filming.
Ooh, la la. They developed some feels while they were feeling each other up
Wow.
on set.
And they are no
Yeah, that
longer
was
together.
cheesy.
But yeah, from what I heard,
Yeah.
like after they worked together, they dated for a little while.
Yeah, I think it was a pretty brief dating.
Yeah.
They probably went on like 2 dates and like some tabloid like reported it or something.
I don't know if they would have been super under tabloids.
Well, how do you know that then? Did they say that in an interview or something?
It was on Wikipedia.
Oh, okay,
That's how I
fine.
know all of this stuff.
You didn't check the sources.
You know, a little
What
bit.
kind of journalism are we doing here?
Terrible journalism. Okay, let me do a few more. Victoria Morcell's street clothes that she wore to the first day of filming were deemed more appropriate for her character than the outfit that was planned. So she wore those clothes for the entire 15 weeks of filming. By the end of shooting, the jeans were held together with duct tape and patches.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Wow.
Now I want to know what she was originally planned to wear.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Because I think the only of the
Probably like
costumes,
a weird dress or something. I don't know.
because in the intro she's wearing like a white dress. She's like, there's like that dream sequence with like she's in the pendulum chair, but like that's it. And then I think she's wearing like a nightgown or something in like a night scene. But
Yeah, I can just imagine them like trying different costumes on and being like, we'll just go with whatever you were wearing when you got here.
Yeah.
apparently the orange and black also stood out against the blue screen as
okay.
well.
Yeah. Which is really important when you're doing that kind
Yeah.
of stuff.
Yeah. The opening theme for Phantasmagoria features a Neo-Gregorian chant, which was performed in studio by a 135-voiced choir. So it's 135 voices singing that opening chant.
I think they overdid it. I don't think they needed. Probably could have just had like 40 voices or something.
Yeah, they
Like-
probably could have squeaked by with a good 40.
But, you know, good for them. They went all out. They were like, we're doing it big.
Okay, and so my final, well, I'll do this final fun fact and then I'll do a bonus one
What?
because we have so many fun facts.
Oh, no, it's the last one.
Almost, yeah. Okay. The file size of the original game was so large that it had to be spread across 7 CDs with a total file size of 2.15 gigs. It was also originally priced at $69.95 upon release.
69. Nice.
So 7 discs. So I imagine each disc was a different chapter.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, each chapter was a different disc. And I remember it was a booklet. It was like, like those compilation CDs you used to buy.
Like,
It was like a book, and you'd be flipping through and trying to get the next CD and everything.
Man, $70 would have been a lot for a game back then too.
Yeah.
it would have been like when you get like when you used to get like a DVD set of like a season of Friends or something. You open it up, there's all those pages of the disc there.
It was that thing. I still have it somewhere.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's huge. So like, how big were like most games? Probably 2 discs at the most.
Yeah, usually 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, rarely more than
That's a
one.
lot. That's crazy.
Okay, so final bonus fun fact.
Sure, bonus.
That game that we were talking about earlier, Soft Porn, Roberta Williams is actually on the cover of that,
Yes, she is.
posing topless with 2 other women. Well, you don't see any nipples or anything. She's in a
Okay.
hot tub, so
Oh,
it's
okay.
like...
Gotcha.
and there's also a fully clothed butler in the hot tub next to them holding champagne.
Is that her husband?
No,
Dang, that would have been funny.
at least I don't think so.
So she was like a risk taker. It sounds like in more than one ways. Like,
Yeah.
What's funny, I think she was like on the cover of maybe more, but at least 2 of her games. One of them was Soft Porn, and the other one was a kid's game called Mixed Up Mother Goose. So in that one, she's like dressed up like Mother Goose with like a bunch of kids around,
Oh, nice.
which is like the complete opposite of
she's
being a hot tub naked.
she's a very dynamic person. Okay, she's got
right.
a lot of sides.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's awesome though. I'm gonna like read a biography about her or like see a documentary about her or something. I think
Yeah,
it would
she's
be
cool.
really interesting.
Yeah, super interesting history on kind of like how these games kind of came about. Do you want to talk a little bit about your personal experience with the game? Because I was kind of wondering, like,
Why'd you pick it?
yeah, why did you pick it? Like, what spurred you to like this game?
Okay, yeah. Well, this game for me is probably like in my top 10 favorite games of all time.
Wow.
And I mean, it's just different from like, a platforming game that you like, or something you'd play on Nintendo or something like that. But I remember playing it like when I was 10. Like 10 years old is probably a little too young to be playing
that's
this game.
way too young for this
Would not
game.
let my 10-year-old if I
Yeah.
could play this game. No way.
I was like pretty young and didn't know a lot. Like I probably like this is like around the time where I got the talk for the first time. and, like barely knew. I was
or
like,
like
what's
6th
going on in this
grade,
scene?
5th grade.
No, I
something
was
like that.
going into 4th grade.
Okay.
So I was
wow.
pretty young. And then my brothers played it too, and they were younger than me. So
Oh no.
So who actually bought the game?
it was a friend of mine, I think, at the time.
Oh, okay.
I think, or maybe my parents got it for me. I remember asking for it for my birthday one year. So there was a trailer for it.
Yeah.
We had King's Quest 7, which like looks like a Disney game. It's like this animated, cartoony game. And there was a trailer for like upcoming Sierra releases. And I just saw like this trailer. I was like, this looks like the coolest thing I've ever seen.
yeah.
And so I got it. I think it was my friend who got it for me. It was exciting. It was a traumatizing, in a fun way, kind of experience.
Yeah.
And I would like, whenever friends would come over, I'd be like, you want to play this scary game? And we just show them all like the death scenes.
That's funny.
Yeah, those death scenes are pretty messed up.
But I would imagine like, so this came out before games had like ratings and stuff, right?
Yes.
So like, even if you were a parent, you might not know that your kid couldn't play this because like all their other games are fine for kids, right? And so you might just think, yeah, it's fine. This is a kid game.
Yeah.
Like,
Like there was a disclaimer probably in the fine print saying like this is an adult game, but like there was no rated M for mature back then.
Yeah.
Nothing like that. And I think my mom like screened the first few chapters because it doesn't get bad until towards the end. I think
Yeah.
the pacing of
yeah.
this game is weird because like it goes from like I'm still exploring this house to suddenly like wow, there's sex and murder.
yeah, the last few chapters, things really amp up.
In fact, I've got a funny story about that. There's a censor option in the game where it'll like pixelate and blur out like
It's already pixelated.
I know, especially
like-
now the game is so pixelated. But at the time, it was like, and it would be these big pixels. You couldn't see what was happening.
Yeah.
Like, whenever there was like a sex scene or a kill, and you can kind of see what's happening. You get all the sound was there, but you're like, what's going on? And I would always ask her, like, can we turn off the censor code so we can see what's going on? And she was clever, but she would always say, well, not until mom says. And then like one day we were just trying to get this censor code off, and it's like enter the adult parental password. And we're like, is it Mom Says? And it totally was. And we unlocked it and we saw all these scenes and it was like the coolest thing ever.
So was it like, was that your dad trying to give you like a sly hint of like what it was or something, what the password was?
No,
or?
that was our mom doing that.
Oh, your mom.
And which is
said
crazy
that.
because she was like, did not like us watching horror movies or anything that was like adult.
Oh my
Dad was
gosh.
usually more lax on that stuff.
That's
but
funny.
there's like one instance
man.
where she was like, if they're smart to figure that out, then they're making one.
Hey, you eventually got it.
Yeah.
Well, I hear that the censorship on the game actually makes the scenes seem way worse than they actually are.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah. In fact, one time we had the censoring codes on and they glitch out. There's like one death scene where it always glitches out and it always turns off and you can see it. And it's during one of the demon scenes where he rips her face open.
Oh, gosh.
Which is maybe the most graphic scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one's pretty graphic for sure.
I still like occasionally will have a nightmare about that.
Oh, no.
Wow.
Yeah.
I would have, if I would have played this as a kid, I definitely would have had a lot of nightmares.
Because
For
like
sure.
any like horror movie or book, like this is still like to me like the scariest thing. Even though it hasn't aged so well in like 2022, it's still like the memories are there, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I guess I've got a couple other quick stories. Let's see. Oh yeah. So I'm actually friends with David Holm on social media. He's the guy actor who plays Don.
Oh, cool.
So
On like Instagram or what?
yeah, on Instagram and Facebook. So if David, if you're listening, shout out.
Nice.
And he just wrote a book actually of poetry
Oh,
that he
cool.
started back when he was like acting on the game and like
Oh, wow.
just weird because he was trying to like get into that character but also trying to get into it too much because it was kind of like messing with his head.
Yeah, you won't want to get too into that.
Character is super messed up, so
Yeah.
I'd imagine it'd be kind of tough to get into that character.
Yeah.
But then I guess he recently during the pandemic, like he's kind of connected with his fans. In fact, which is kind of cool. I was like, man, it's kind of weird to like.
So, I mean, has he
this
done
guy.
more acting and more video game stuff since
He
then?
has.
Since
He was
this?
in a few like shows and movies like
Okay.
back in the 90s.
Yeah.
And not much else that I can remember, to be honest. Like he's got an IMDb page. He's got a few credits. Mm-hmm. I know also with Victoria, she was in a few things. Like I think she was on. Gosh, I'll have to like look up because I'm kind of blanking on this right now.
That's okay. You don't need to have their IMDb's page memorized.
Yeah, why don't you have that information
I know,
off
I
the top
should.
of the head?
Fresh Prince of Bel-Air is probably the biggest thing I could think of. She was like on a couple episodes of that.
Oh, cool.
Wow.
But anyway, with David's book, he just released it this last year. He finally, like during the pandemic, finished it, and it's called Awake I Dream, and it's full of poems and poetry, some of which reference Phantasmagoria, which is cool.
Cool.
But yeah, I used to like love showing this game to people. Like friends would come over and we'd like play Mario Kart or something, and it's like, now you want to play something scary? Yeah, we'd go through. And so I feel like it was like a rite of passage. You came over to our house at some point. We were going to show you this game. In fact, like when I first started dating my wife, Sarah, who you guys know,
Yeah.
like that was one of the things I was like, you got to play this creepy game with me. So we made a night of it and like ordered pizza and
That's
beers,
fun.
and I made her play through this game. And that was probably like 2010. That was probably the first time where I was like, this game hasn't aged so well.
Yeah.
Did Sarah make it through the entire game?
She did. I think we
Wow.
got through it in like 1 or 2 nights or something.
Nice.
That's funny. But yeah, I remember being, when you're a kid and you always wanted to have something cool to show your friends or something cool so people would talk about it, and then people would like want to be at your house for your sleepovers and stuff.
Yeah.
But I don't know, we did stuff like that too, even as girls and stuff. We would sneak and watch like not Friday the 13th, but like the Nightmare on Elm Street movies or something like that, and just like get freaked out.
Oh, it's so fun. It's so fun to like get scared and watch something spooky.
Or like wake up when your friends fall asleep and go out to the window and like scratch the window and stuff and make your friends
Oh
feel like
my
the house
God.
is haunted, or like
That's
I don't know.
so fun.
We did all kinds of crazy stuff.
Well, the last thing I was going to say, like story-wise, slash fun fact, I guess, is
A Michael fun fact.
yeah, the actress who plays Adrian, Victoria Morsell Hemmingson, has never actually played this game before. She's not a gamer, but she's playing it right now for the first time.
Like
What?
right now as we speak.
Like every week, she's like playing a little bit more of it.
Is she like streaming it?
On YouTube and Twitch.
Oh my god, that's
Nice.
awesome.
And she's playing it with the actor who played the main character in Phantasmagoria 2, Paul Morgan Stetler.
There's a second one?
There's a second game.
Oh, no. I thought that was, I thought you said this one was the last one they made. So the second one someone else made?
So Ken and Roberta Williams were involved, I think, in part 2, but it wasn't their thing.
Yeah,
Okay.
they kind of stepped to the side.
Yeah, it was like different director, different.
Okay.
I don't have all the credits on that.
That's fine.
And it's different. It's like the theatrics or cinematics are better. It's like there's better camera angles, better acting, maybe not better acting, but like it's more movie centered. Like it's less of there's no like 3D rendered rooms. It's like actually on a set.
Yeah, that's cool.
And it's a different story, different characters, different story. But those two actors are playing through the first game right now on YouTube every week,
That's
which is
funny.
really cool because like they're not gamers and they're like she remembers the stories, but she's like, what do I do here? What do I click? Like, and then she's like, oh, I remember this and remember that, it's really cool. So,
Yeah, I'd imagine how much filming they did. I wonder how many like takes each of those things like took.
probably
Yeah.
so many. Like
And how much footage they probably didn't even use, you know?
like she said, she's like, I don't remember the story, but I remember like a lot of me holding a key and looking at it and going, what is this? And then holding another item and looking at it closely. Mm-hmm. But for anyone interested, that is it's on YouTube. It's called Conversations with Curtis, which Curtis is the name of the character in the second game. But that's the YouTube channel,
Cool.
Conversations with Curtis.
That sounds fun.
Yeah.
All right, so let's move on to talk about what we liked about the game, guys. Who wants to go first? Michael? Since this is your game.
Sure. I like that it's so different from like any other game that I've played, even now.
You
There's
mean
not
as
many
far
games.
as like just the mixed media of having like the video and the
Exactly.
digital rendering stuff?
Because I think there's not a lot of games anymore that are FMV adventure games. I think they're making a comeback, but like nothing big, nothing commercial, you know?
Yeah, I don't think I've ever played one.
They were extremely innovative with how they did this, and I really appreciate that fact. I also kind of like the fact that they were trying to target more of an adult audience.
Yeah.
Because at the time, you know, if you were making a game, it was almost assumed it was going to be for kids.
Yeah, exactly.
One of the things I really like is the music, and ambiance in this game are really good, and it helps to make the gameplay feel really creepy. Like especially at night, like when the game transitions to that first night, and you start getting that really creepy music, like man, that's really good.
Oh, I get chills even now thinking about that. And then even playing this game like during the day, like it's whatever, but when it's actually at night and you're playing it, and that that night scene or whatever, like I don't know, I still get chills.
Nice.
I like that it has like that cheesy B horror film vibe, you know? Like the story in the game, it's not going to win like an Oscar or anything or whatever the equivalent of that would be for a video game. But, you know, it's got all the cheesiness there that you would want for a B horror film.
Yeah, overly dramatic, lots of blood and guts.
Yeah. Lots of stereotypes, lots of folklore and all that.
Yeah, that's great.
A lot of things that don't make sense.
Wait, is this still a pro? I like that the game didn't make any sense.
Well, you know.
Yeah, no, I hear you.
Just like how in like B horror movies, you're like, why are you doing this? Like, why are you running up the stairs instead of out the door? You know, like those type of things is what I mean.
Yeah, for
Right.
me, it was like, why haven't you left this house yet?
Yeah. And like at the end, like at the end when it's like, lady, you need to have a pep in your step. Like this snake demon thing is about to bust through this door and eat your head. And you're just casually going over to this body and slowly getting the talisman. Like you have all the time in the world.
Yeah, I do
Yeah.
feel like she's way too relaxed on that time-based sequence at the end.
God.
But it's funny.
It's kind of frustrating, like watching her just slowly move when things are like supposed to be so frantic.
Yeah, there's like a scene where she has to like cut her finger with like a piece of glass or
Yeah.
a needle. She's like, "Oh God, can I do this?" And it's like, "Well, do you want your
You
face
have
ripped
to.
apart?" Like,
You have no choice,
yeah,
lady.
Make a choice. Come on.
It's just your finger. Like
And I love that it lets you like once you bar the door at the end, like you can actually unbar the door and open the door back up. Like, why would that be a choice? But you
Yeah.
can do that.
oh my
and then,
god, I didn't even know because I was not stupid enough to do that.
And it lets you do it, and like the door opens up, and she's like, "Oh shit!" And then God. It just cracks me up.
I love that they actually recorded that happening.
Yeah.
It's
That's
awesome.
funny.
It's like, I wonder if I can go out this door I just locked. What's another pro you have, Michael?
I thought it was cool that you play as like a woman, and like it was in 1995. Like that was kind of interesting. I know we kind of talked about it earlier, but
they didn't really have a lot of female protagonist-based games in 1995.
not at all. Like there was not many. Of course, there's several games now, and games have changed a lot. Since
The only
Yeah.
other game I can kind of think of is like Metroid.
or maybe Tomb Raider, which was later.
Oh, Tomb Raider.
But like Metroid shouldn't
Raider,
even
late
count because they like don't even show you until the end.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's
exactly.
like you're not really. I mean, you don't have that mindset of like, yeah, I'm playing as a badass chick. You think you're a dude the whole time.
Exactly.
So another thing to piggyback off the female lead, it's really cool that it's a female like made game.
Yeah.
Or Roberta Williams seems like really cool chick.
Yeah. Yeah, super interesting. Super cool chick.
Yeah, legendary.
For me, I feel like most of the death scenes were pretty creative. Like the dude, like, I'm not just going to kill my wives. I'm going to kill them in a fun, kind of psychotic way.
I think I missed some of the deaths because I was like, at first, I was like, he's just like stuffing things down all their throats. Like, because I saw the dirt, like the garden one where he just stuffs the dirt down the chick's throat. And then there was like the video from the creepy room with the chair in it. When you look at the mirror, like it shows him shoving all these like meat organs down this chick's throat. And it's like, ugh, does he have like a thing for just like shoving stuff in people's mouths? Like, but then later, there was other ways that he killed people, but.
And it is possible to miss some of these deaths, so I'm curious. Of course, we'll talk about that later. That's part of the challenge.
Yeah, I
of the
definitely.
deaths, but-
I think I might have accidentally missed some of them because I don't remember seeing like all the deaths that like we talked about. Or
Well, we'll get into that when we get to the challenge part.
Yes.
We'll go over all the death scenes.
Okay. Cool.
Do you have anything else, Nikki?
I like that this game is short because it's short, but yet you need patience to play. So. Like, I think it being short is good because if it was any longer, I don't know if I would have made it through the game.
So it's about the right length, you feel like?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. I
And
kind of agree
plus,
with
when
that.
it came out, if it was already 7 discs when it came out, like, you really could not make it longer than that. Like, if it was 2 discs per chapter, you would have... you would need probably, like, several cases to, like, hold all those discs. That'd be crazy.
Yeah, that would be nuts for 1995.
That reminds me, I've got one more pro at this game.
Okay.
I always liked that because a lot of adventure games from that time, you had to save constantly, and if you didn't, you'd lose all your progress. This one, like, saves your progress, and you can never get stuck. There's never a point where, like, you should have done that thing back in chapter 1, so you're screwed. You got to start over. Like, that never happens. Also, you can't die in the game until the last chapter.
Yeah.
I always kind of like that. Like, all right, once you enter the final chapter, it's on.
Yeah.
So you said that it automatically saves, but for my game, I had to save, and then you have to click, like, move bookmark to this spot. And if you don't do that, then you pretty much lose. You have to start back at your previous bookmark.
Did it not auto? Maybe not.
At least not for me, because I guess I forgot to hit the bookmark the spot once when I saved, and then the next time I came to play, I had to, like, do that whole chapter over again.
I think you're right. Maybe it auto saves at the end of each chapter.
Yeah.
So you're right. You still have to save if you're halfway between a chapter.
Speaking of that last chapter, I really like the intensity of that last chapter. They essentially are incorporating quick time events before they were really considered a thing.
Yeah. And it does a good job of, like, invoking that fear, because every time you mess up and die and you have to start over,
Well, even if you just
it's like puts that pressure, like, I'm gonna die. you know? Like,
even if you just let your character sit idle too long,
yeah.
Don will come by and just kill her.
yeah. And I died a lot in the last chapter. I died so many times.
Where's my damn drain cleaner?
Seriously.
My last pro is I like the skip animation button. So every time you click on something, it can kind of take a long time for the lead protagonist to do the thing, but you can actually click the skip animation and you can kind of skip through a bunch of stuff. The only problem is that you can accidentally use it to skip important scenes or dialogue.
Right.
Which I did accidentally. And then you can't go back.
If you're
Exactly.
if you're clicking it all the time like me.
Yeah.
Yeah, like walking down the stairs. It's like, okay, here's this long animation of walking down the stairs.
Yeah, exactly.
But click at the wrong time, and you're like, oh, well, actually, Cyrus and Harriet came out and told you an important thing, but you clicked skip, so you missed it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what happened to me too. Like I was like trying to get down the stairs really fast, and then Dawn was talking to someone, and it skipped like that whole conversation. I was like, and then it was like the next chapter, so you could not go back. It was
Oh,
like
no.
unless you wanted to play the whole chapter over again.
Or find it on YouTube now or something.
Exactly. And another thing I like about this game is, what did you call it? The hint skull
Oh,
guy?
the official hint keeper.
Yeah, the hint keeper. He's like a little skull, and you can click on him if you're stuck, and he'll be like, someone in the town knows everything. Or like, go to the store, or something like
The
that.
house beckons you.
Exactly.
Yeah, I love that little thing.
I know at the beginning it's like, he kind of gives you a warning. He's like, don't use me too much, you'll ruin the story. And I'm like, I don't care. Click, click, click.
Yeah, I don't want to get stuck.
Exactly.
All right. What about cons? Do you guys have any criticism about this game?
I have quite a bit of criticism.
Yeah.
But I do feel a little guilty because I feel like it would be, like, if we played this in the times when it came out, my criticisms would probably be like a lot different. But since I just played it now, I have some just criticisms on how I aged and things like that, I guess.
Yeah. Why don't you start since you have a bunch?
Okay. Con. Number one. Made in the 90s. So, like, I mean, I know back then it was, like, revolutionary and really high tech. But now it's, like, stuff from the 90s. You can tell it's from the 90s. Just the quality of the video and everything like that is just, compared to what we're used to now, everything just looks hyper realistic. You know, it's like you have to put yourself in a certain state of mind to be like, okay, this game is old. You know, this game is like 20 years old, like, or 30 years old.
Yeah,
or
almost.
How long? How long was it? When was 1991?
27 years ago?
And you have to, you just have to, like, keep that in mind when you're playing the game. Just like if you're watching, like, some old Friends episodes and stuff. You know, we've come a long way, especially with just, like, the Me Too movement and just things that were accepted back then and stuff that we're kind of seeing now that's, like, not as, not cool. So.
Yeah, everything's kind of super grainy and low resolution.
Yeah.
And the colors are kind of muddy and ugly, in my opinion, for the most part.
I mean, they could be doing that on purpose because of the,
True.
old haunted mansion. They're usually kind of dusty.
I like
and
bright, beautiful colors in my horror games. So yeah, one of my cons is that the story is really slow to develop. I would say it really doesn't start to get interesting until halfway through.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a lot of
agreed.
kind of busy work at the beginning. You're just learning the house and, like, finding random objects. And you're like, I don't know what I'm going to do with this later, but it's letting me pick it up, so I guess I need it.
Yeah, I think originally with this game, there were supposed to be a lot more scenes kind of like portraying Don in a more positive light that ended up getting cut.
Yeah, that would make sense because they didn't do a very good job of, like, building him up to be a good person to have him switch so that the switch would be more dramatic.
Yeah. Kind of, you would see more of the reason why Adrian would want to stay with him.
Yeah, I mean, they try at the beginning when he gives her that, like, snowman ornament. He's, like, talking about, like, when they met and all this stuff, but that's pretty much it. And then he goes into being, like, kind of a douchebag, like, after that.
Yeah, he's kind of grumpy, like, and annoyed with her before he even gets possessed. He's, like, already kind of a jerk.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny.
Yeah, I actually
You're
have
right.
that, like, everything in this game is kind of slow. Like, the story builds slow. Like, your character moves slow. When you watch the video bits, it's like, oh, let me examine this key for, like, a whole minute. And, like,
Yeah.
I guess you can fast forward through stuff, but then you never know, like, what you're going to miss.
Yeah.
It's like, if you fast forward through something you haven't seen, of course, that one scene I skip is going to have, like, some major clue in it, and, like, you wouldn't even know. So
That's what the ant skull's for.
exactly.
Do you have any cons, Michael?
Basically, to piggyback off of what you said, Nikki, yeah, it's like it doesn't hold up as well in today's time.
Yeah.
And part of that's the graphics. Like, they had to, like, film this beautiful game and make all these cool graphics and then just compress it down, like,
Yeah.
to nothing. So it doesn't hold up visually. And then, yeah, also like you said, some of the scenes, some of the characters are like maybe not as PC. Ironic for a PC game, personal computer, but not politically correct.
Yeah, just for example, there's like a rape scene in the game, which I feel like didn't really need to be there. I mean, I guess it's kind of showing Dawn's a little more evil, but other than that, it really doesn't make that much of a difference in the game. The main character didn't even act really like she was upset about it at all. Yeah. She just like the next scene is she's dressed and okay, let's go on.
Apparently that was not in the original script either. I heard like they just were on set one day and Roberta was like, we're gonna film this scene just to push things a little further.
And that was
it just was like not necessary, but definitely.
But they did that all the time in horror movies back in the day. They would just use that, like just have rape just so casually, like just to use it as a plot to move, to make people seem evil or like give the female like a reason to want revenge or whatever.
Yeah, my biggest issue with it is just the fact that it's never mentioned again after it happens.
Yeah, it just seems like a afterthought almost or something. I don't know.
Yeah, it doesn't piece into the game, and I don't have a problem with a game trying to push the limits and be more controversial.
Yeah.
But I always feel like it needs to connect some. There needs to be a good reason. Like if you're gonna like make a really offensive joke, it's got to be really funny. If you're gonna add a really controversial scene, it's got to be pretty meaningful or connect somehow.
Exactly. And you don't just do it to do it. Just to be edgy.
Yeah, and I feel like they almost did it with the idea that it was going to be edited out, or maybe like you said, it was like just last minute ad.
Yeah.
And that's why they didn't connect it to anything. But I'm of the mindset like, yeah, you probably didn't need to do it.
Yeah. They also have like a character, Cyrus. Yeah, sorry. And it's just like another thing that you saw a lot in the 90s. Probably a not mentally disabled person acting as they are mentally disabled with just like a speech impediment and just really kind of like overdoing it to where it's kind of offensive now,
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that stuff was more accepted back in the 90s, but I think, I don't know, in some ways it's good to like notice all these changes because it means we've moved a lot, we've progressed a lot, as far as like some of our ideas go and what's accepted and what's not. So I think there's some good things in it to just notice, like that you do notice these things. But yeah, it doesn't, like I said, you'd have to keep in mind that this game was made in the 90s when you're playing it, It wasn't made today. It was made today. There's no way like it would get approved or anything. But there's also excessive female brutality, which I get is like a lot of old horror games and stuff too, but it's just like, okay, this guy killed all of his wives. No one thought, what happened to them? Like they never questioned him. He never went to jail. They just left him alone so he could keep killing the next wife and the next wife. Like, what the hell?
And who would marry like a guy who's like, he's been married 4 times and they've all mysteriously died
exactly.
in a super creepy house.
It's like, yeah.
Okay, sounds like a good guy.
Yeah.
But you're right. It's pretty imbalanced. It's like it's mostly brutality against women. So and only a couple of male characters that get killed in the whole game.
Yeah. So one of my cons is that it's more of a movie than a game, in my opinion, and I would rather have it the other way around.
Yeah, like you're watching a lot and not doing a lot.
Yeah, with the gameplay being relatively short and kind of easy for the most part. But yeah, I kind of prefer more of a game than a movie, but they were, testing the limits, and I feel like they were trying to push games in a more cinematic direction at the time.
Yeah, you gotta applaud the bravery for like just trying to do something, being the first at doing something.
Yeah, I like I said in one of Pros, man, they were pushing the limits on what you could do in a video game for sure.
Yeah, for sure. The acting is not so great, but I don't know, it kind of adds to like the B film, kind of thing, because like all the good bad horror movies have like kind of bad acting. So that's kind of like a pro and a con in one.
I just kind of imagine like their filming schedule probably wouldn't lead to super great acting just because of how like heavy the filming was in a very short amount of time.
Yeah. And also, you know, like this is kind of like when the blue screen and green screen stuff kind of first started. So I'd imagine acting to something you can't see, you know, and you're just having to pretend, like that would be harder than just doing a regular scene, you know, with things you can see.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't like that in certain parts of the game you can't fast forward through. Well, I learned afterwards that you actually can. I just didn't know how. But like, so at the end, you know, when you die, you see the same cutscene like every single time, and you can't fast forward through that like in the game's interface, at least for the one that we have on our computer. You have to press escape like 2 times to fast forward that, which how would I know? You know, like Eric figured it out, but I didn't know.
I use my gamer instinct of hit any button to try to get past this.
Well, I was afraid if I pressed escape too many times, it would just exit out of the whole game, you know? So at the end, I was like stuck rewatching the scene like over and over.
It's not really hitting escape 2 times. It's just in certain parts. Like you can hit escape and skip stuff.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But like the button that you normally can use to fast forward through, like, you know, walking up the stairs and stuff, like that wasn't a thing. You had to skip it a different way, and I didn't know. So at the end, I was like just rewatching the same thing,
the face rip
over and over and over, and I was just like, I know what happens. I don't need to see it again. I messed up. Like you're punishing me because I messed up.
Yeah, I can understand why that would be so frustrating.
It was so, I was like, I just want to beat this game.
Because that is like kind of a long like death scene.
Yeah.
So my final con, I'm sorry, but you're not going to get through a brick fireplace with a letter opener.
Yeah, that was a puzzle that doesn't make any damn sense.
Of all the stuff, that's like that's probably the least believable part of the game.
I think you've got a hammer at that point and like a fire poker. And
like, neither of those work.
I know, you try the hammer and she's like, I don't know. Oh, this isn't going to work.
Like, I don't want to make a mess.
Yeah.
What's funny, actually, watching the actress now play through the game, she had forgotten that, and she got frustrated. She's like, wait a minute, it's the letter opener? Why did we do that? This doesn't make any sense. It was funny.
It's like, what? Like,
really
this must be a shoddy bricklaying job.
Yeah.
Any more cons, Nikki?
No, not really. That's pretty much sums it up.
All right, yeah.
I wouldn't like... It's not that I don't like the game, Michael. I don't want you to feel bad like you picked a game that I didn't like, even though that's
be honest
fine, even
about
if
it, you know?
you did. I think it's good for us to like have different opinions on games. Sometimes, you know, not everything. Everyone's not gonna like everything. That's just how the cookie crumbles.
No, I agree.
But I'm glad that I played it. I just don't know. At least I don't feel indifferent about it. You know, like I have opinions on it, and this is a game that's gonna make you think things and feel things and like have an opinion about it. You're not just gonna be like, meh. That's just meh.
It's definitely like a controversial game, and I feel bad. I should have warned you about like how crazy this game is. I feel like I didn't give a good enough warning, maybe.
Yeah, I think I would have liked to have been maybe just a heads up about the rape scene. That was a little like, oh god.
I didn't think about that.
I was like, what's gonna happen after that? And then the cat dies.
I forgot that they kill off Spaz.
So sad. And she doesn't even act. She's like, she finds her cat murdered, and she's just like, Cyrus.
Yeah, she blames Cyrus for it. And it's like clearly,
and that's the extent of her emotions. And then she just went on like, if I felt my cat murdered, I would have been freak out. I would have been crying, distraught, or probably would have went to the police. Like, they probably don't have police in this town because there was only like 3 buildings.
Everyone gets murdered and nobody goes to jail.
You go to town and there's like an antique shop, a realtor for some reason, and then
who's like really sleazy and like that also doesn't hold up today. Like that's pretty.
And then there's like a store, like a grocery store, and that's it in the town. And then you have like that other dude's house, and that's all.
Right.
So I bet they don't even have police.
I forgot about the cat. Poor Spaz.
Yeah, poor Spaz. Like, he was a main character, too. The third family member. They had him on the picnic and a lot of scenes. I was like, oh, no, that's Spaz.
Just think about that scene where, like, she finds her husband passed out from drinking alcohol, and she's like, oh, I'm done with you. Like, okay, so now you're finally done with him after like all the horrible shit he's done to this point.
Yeah.
It's like drinking too much was the final straw.
Not, you know.
I know you killed the cat and I literally got raped, but I was going to drink that, or it was a bit too much.
Yeah. At that point, did he kill the phone guy?
No, it was before.
Oh, okay.
The phone guy.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, the phone guy, he didn't matter either, whatever.
He was a throwaway character.
That whiskey. The whiskey.
It was absinthe, actually.
Ooh,
absinthe. Oh, yeah, I forgot. Oh, is that the reason you go behind that bar in the beginning, just to look at the absinthe, so you know he's drinking absinthe later?
Yeah.
There's a lot of things.
I was wondering, why that was a thing. I'm like, okay, because you just look at it, and then you leave it there.
Well, when you go back and look at it later, she'll say, she'll wonder, oh, this actually feels more full than it was. Oh. Like something was filling it.
I thought
I
thought that I had tried.
Yeah, it was originally empty, and then she found that it was full.
I thought that I had tried to go back over to that area after I looked at the bottle, and I didn't think it would let me click back over there. I couldn't get back over there. But I don't know. Maybe that was just me.
This was just before finding him passed out drunk. This would have been I think maybe the chapter before.
Yeah.
That might have even just been a glitch in the game. I don't even know.
There was at one point a glitch where I couldn't. It just froze up and it would let me move the cursor around, but I couldn't click. If I clicked on anything, it didn't do anything. Huh. And I had to just start that chapter over or whatever. But
there was a lot of areas and rooms in the game where there's not much point to it really, except for you keep coming back every chapter and this painting is a little bit more done each time, or there's a cigarette missing from the cigarette case, or the absinthe is being drunk. There's little things like that are interesting kind of, but from a gameplay perspective,
I missed a bunch of stuff. What painting? What painting are you talking about?
Remember the observatory?
The room with the projector.
Yeah, there's a painting that's blank. And then every chapter it gets painted. It's interesting.
I did not go and look at that painting again.
And then by the end, it's the full demon's face all painted out. And so I feel back then too, attention spans were a little slower. Because now it's I'm not gonna click everything in the house every single chapter. It's kind of slow and kind of drags.
Yeah.
But when you do that, there's all these little things that just change.
That's kind of the point of these games, though.
Yeah.
You have to be. And we can go into strategy now, too. But, you obviously have to click on everything. That's, the only thing you can do. So they have to put it in there, It's hover over every square inch of the screen so you don't miss anything.
I almost missed the shop that, you can go level deep in the shop and you can actually keep going to get to the back of the shop. Mm-hmm. I wasn't moving the mouse far enough to realize that you can go back there early. And it took me a while to realize that there was actually a whole nother section of the shop.
Because that's where you get the bone, right?
Yeah. That's a common, actually, that's a complaint. That one area is hard to find. People often miss that exact spot.
Yeah, because
I actually didn't miss that one.
I thought I had looked at everything, but it's just I guess not. So one of my pieces of strategy is to click on the skull as much as possible, even though the game tells you not to.
Yeah.
Use me sparingly. Too many hints can spoil the game.
I definitely have that. I'm especially if you're stuck and because you can get really frustrated just walking around the house if you don't know what you're looking for, because it takes some time to walk around the house.
Yeah. Skip animation, walk, skip animation.
Yeah.
If you're stuck, just click on the little skull guy. Yeah, and obviously pick up and gather anything that you can click on, and anything you can pick up, you're probably going to need it later.
Oh, yeah. So you have to turn on the light in the cupboard before you can open the cellar.
Yeah.
That's strategy?
Mm-hmm.
That's the strategy.
Oh, yeah.
It took me a while to realize that.
And also, before you get to the end, you need to make sure you have all the correct items, because if you don't, you're just gonna get to the very end and die, and there's no way to really go back and get things once you're past a certain point.
Oh, you're talking about the final scene when the demon comes around? Yeah, if you don't have the cross in the book and all that stuff.
Glass shard and all that stuff, then you kind of just need to start chapter 7 over again.
If I'm not mistaken, maybe I'm wrong.
No, you can go back and get stuff.
I think because once chapter 7 starts, it's the chase scene and you can't collect any more items. Mm-hmm. But I think, and maybe I'm wrong, if you missed the brooch with the little pin where you prick your hand, mm-hmm. I think the game will give you a chance to pick up a piece of glass And if you miss
Really?
and if you miss like the crucifix in the crypt, you can buy it from the shop. There's like different solutions, and I feel like
Okay, I was
Oh,
confused
okay.
about
Yeah.
the crucifix thing because I didn't know there was 2 different ways you could get that, and so yeah, I had a really bad experience at like the end of the game.
yeah,
Because like if you're in chapter 7 and you quit, your game is not there when you come back in, like to
Yeah,
continue the game.
you can never start from the middle of chapter 7. It's always the beginning.
It's over.
'Cause that's like the
And
chase.
so like basically, I quit chapter 7. Like I went out and then I went back in. I forgot. I think I just wanted to start it over to make sure I got all the things. And so I was like, okay, I'll just quit and not save so I can start back where I started last time. And it was like, nope. And I was like, no, my whole game is gone. And then I was like, you know what? Screw it. I'm just going to like look up a walkthrough because I had already died like so many times. And I got to like the very, very, very end where you just needed the crucifix to like do that part. And I didn't have the crucifix. And I was like, I'm not playing this again.
Oh no!
Yeah, so you thought according to the walkthrough that you had to have gotten that in chapter 6
I
when you
thought
could
I-
actually get it in chapter 7.
Yeah, I thought that I
Right.
didn't know you could get it in chapter 7. I thought you could only get it from the store. So I was thinking back when I talked to the lady about it at the store, and I was like, I didn't remember what chapter that was. And I was like, I'm going to have to go all the way back to that chapter to get the cross. And I was just like, no. So I went on YouTube and I just like watched the ending.
Well, then you like sat in with me while I played the ending. So, I mean, you
Yeah.
still got the ending experience.
Yeah, I actually helped Eric a lot at the ending. Haha.
I think that's cool. You guys each played it sort of separately, and then like both had your own, and then came together at the end.
It's kind of interesting to see like how other people's brains work, you know, because like
Yeah.
my brain works differently from Eric's. And it's just like seeing what he does first versus what I do first, and like how we play the game and things like that. It's like
Yeah, like
everyone does it differently.
finding the escape key right away.
Exactly. God, I wish I would have known that. I would have went through and probably finished the whole game if I would have known about like skipping that scene, because I was just
It
like,
makes it so much faster. Yeah.
I mean, I watched it so many times and I was just like, I can't watch it anymore. I'm like, it's ingrained in my head. Like, it's frustrating.
Well, I've got kind of not exactly a strategy, but something you could call it a strategy. As slow as the game is, if you want it to be a little bit slower, sometimes if you just stand in one place for a long time and don't do anything, weird things will happen.
What?
So it's nothing important to the story. You don't have to do it. But like if you're looking for any extra Easter eggs or any little weird going on in the house.
What would happen?
So there's a few scenes, but like I'm trying to think of a few. There's one where if you're just hanging out in the hallway, like near the baby crib, sometimes you'll just hear crying. Like baby
Yeah.
crying. And you'll go in there and you'll see the rocking chair rocking, and there's like a ghost
Yeah, that
singing for the
happened
baby.
once. Yeah, I was like,
And
and
then
that room was creepy. I like
Yeah.
avoided.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's spooky because like if you're just playing the game normally and like just clicking through, like you will likely miss it. But if you're kind of just standing there for a minute trying to figure out what to do next, it might happen.
Yeah.
Wow.
So there's scenes like that are like just creepy.
Yeah, they do. Like the last chapter, you really do feel like you are the main character being chased. Like you're in that chase scene of the final scene of like a horror movie. You do
Yeah.
really do get that feeling.
Yeah, it definitely amps up the intensity for sure.
And you get so like, oh, my heart was like, oh, I'm gonna, like, da-da-da-da-da-da. You're gonna die. And then I did die. And I'm like, I don't want to die again. And then I would die again.
All right, moving on to the future. So Sierra Entertainment was bought and sold many times after 1996 and eventually merged into Activision Blizzard in 2008. The brand was revived in 2014, and so far the only games to release under that rebrand, I guess, was a Geometry Wars game and a reimagined version of the King's Quest series. So no new Phantasmagoria games are being planned, unfortunately.
Well, I thought, Michael, didn't you say?
There was Phantasmagoria 2, which came out in like 96 or so.
Okay.
96,
I thought you said
97.
they were working on
Yeah.
something now, but
They're not. There was, and this might be in your notes,
Yeah,
somebody
it
was
is.
going to make a movie of Phantasmagoria.
Oh, what?
And they were raising some money. This is like,
this is not, it's already a movie. There's already
Yeah.
10 movies that are this. Like,
but there's a group of people trying to get like a funding for a
Oh,
movie
gosh.
together. This is like 2014 or
who,
so.
okay, who do you think would play Adrian and Dawn and if they did the movie now, you know,
I can just pull up
Cameron
IMDb.
Diaz and Keanu Reeves.
I feel like it'd be like, I feel like it would be Scarlett Johansson, like Joseph Gordon-Levitt or something. I'm just saying, who do you think would be a good person
Who do I
to play?
think would be good?
The two?
Jim Carrey. I always say Jim Carrey.
He's been in some spooky movies, though. I mean, kind of. Like,
Yeah, I mean the Cable guy. That's kind of creepy.
Who was the guy who played in the new Star Wars movies? The bad guy.
Oh, what's Adam Driver?
Adam Driver.
yeah,
Adam Driver,
yeah.
I think would make
I
a
could
good.
see him being a good
he
like
would
Dawn.
be good.
Yeah.
Yeah, Adam Driver and Scarlett Johansson.
Yeah,
Oh,
there we go.
They already have a movie together. So it's like on brand. It'd be on brand for them.
Trying to find like more information on this movie, like who was cast in it. I know like they had a few big names,
Really?
but it never got filmed.
That's
It was
so
like in
funny.
development hell, and I think it just fell apart.
Oh,
Yeah,
that sucks.
happens a lot with video
Yeah.
games and movies.
So yeah, like Michael said earlier. So yeah, Ken and Roberta pretty much retired, sailed around the world, and
Living the life.
wrote some books, and are now making a remake of Colossal Cave Adventure in 3D. And it's funny.
Oh yeah, that's what I was asking. You said they're doing the remake of that game now.
Exactly.
Like right now.
Because that's kind of the game that inspired them to like
Yeah.
get into games in the first
Yeah,
place.
yeah, it was their whole inspiration for becoming game developers, which is kind of awesome because it does come full circle around.
Yeah.
How it ended up happening was, I guess, Roberta like found out that Ken was like taking these tutorials to learn how to use Unity.
How to use what?
Unity, which is like a game kind of creation environment.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't know what that was.
Yeah, so he was trying to teach himself how to use these game maker tools, and Roberta was like asking him like what was he intending to like do with that. He was like, well, maybe like reviving the Dr. Brain series or something, and she basically told him it was a dumb idea.
Oh.
but then she like she's like, oh, why don't we redo Colossal Cave Adventure? And yeah, so that's what they're working on now. And
who
Quick
wears-
note on that. Another shout out to my friend Steve Alexander, buddy of mine, who actually is going to be helping them work on that game.
wow,
He just got signed
wow.
on to that project.
Dude,
he's
that's
like,
awesome.
Yeah, he's done like a few indie games and a lot of Sierra inspired stuff.
Neat.
And he just like posted, I think like 2 days ago, like, by the way, I'm working on this game. So I'm like, yeah, shout out to Steve. That's
And
cool.
so that game, you said it was like one of the first ones. So that's like one where they have like we were talking about, it looks like a Word document and
Yeah.
you're playing through.
Yeah,
so they're remaking it to like actually have real graphics.
yeah,
and
they're in
stuff.
3D and stuff like that.
That would be cool.
And they're making it like VR compatible and all
Yeah.
this stuff.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. Are you gonna play?
Oh, yeah, have to.
And just sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, like, going to set my expectations at a reasonable level. I don't want to get
Yeah.
too hyped and, but I will definitely check it out.
So yeah, just to expand on it. So I found a comment on an article written about this from Ken Williams. Like he commented on the article.
Cool.
He's basically said that they were basically like 95% done with the game, but Roberta didn't think it was high enough quality for them to put their names on it, and that they would continue working on it until it met her high bar.
She sounds awesome. I love her. She's got standards, and she knows like anything less than what her standards are is not like getting her name on it. And I love it. It's great.
I remember in school when I was a kid, like, being asked in class. I was probably around the time I was playing all these King's Quest games and Phantasmagoria. Like, I think a teacher asked, like, all right, who do you want to be like when you grow up? And I was like, I want to be like Roberta Williams.
Yes.
And nobody knew who
love
that was.
it.
Everyone was like, who is that? We don't know who that is. Like, yeah, just a cool
That's
cool
awesome,
person.
Michael, though.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
All right. Any other future stuff?
Is there any date for when that's going to come out? Or like all you know is it was almost done, but now they got more work to
I think
do.
it's once it hits that high bar where they feel like it's a good, because they basically said while they do hope to make some money off of it, it's like
a passion project.
it's a passion
Yeah.
project. So
Sounds like they're living the life, man. They just get to do what they want. They get to work on the projects that they want and travel and man, I want that
probably
life.
like the pandemic was like, hey, we can't really do as much travel for a while. Let's program something.
yeah.
that's awesome. All right, so moving on to the challenge.
The challenge.
Ba, ba, ba.
So we got to describe all these lady deaths.
And if you don't,
Yeah,
then you have to rap.
And baby death, right? Didn't he kill the baby too?
I was going to ask if you saw that one too.
Oh, yeah. It was evil.
Wait, what did he do to the baby?
He drowns the baby. That's not part of the challenge, so I can say that. But like Sophia, the little 2-year-old daughter.
He drowned the baby?
Yeah, there's
he
a
is
scene.
evil.
If you go out at night, you know how like if you look in the mirrors, you see all those deaths.
Yeah.
If you look in that pond with the fountain, you see they don't show her being drowned, but you see the little baby peering in, and you see him coming in, and it fades out. Like,
Oh, man. Yeah, I didn't see that.
He drowned his little 2-year-old daughter.
A lot of
Oh.
Pretty messed up.
Dang.
Can I swear on this podcast?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, that was pretty fucked up.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, this guy is evil. Pure evil. No
Yeah.
doubt about that.
Yeah.
Okay, so there was 5 ladies, right?
That's right. You had to find out in detail how each of them died.
Yeah.
I wasn't very good with names,
So Hortensia, she was the garden, right? The greenhouse, and he like shoves all this dirt down her throat.
I thought it was more just stabbing her and then
Kinda
the dirt,
both.
like stabbed in the mouth, and then like he put a bunch of dirt in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he stabbed her with one of those things though that you use
gardener
for
tool,
planting.
like,
so
A trowel. What do you call those things?
I don't know.
Gardening shovel.
Mini shovel.
Yeah, a tiny shovel.
I just make up my own words for shit. Like, I don't know. But yeah, I don't know. He kept putting dirt down her throat though. So yeah, that was Hortensia.
Because she wanted to spend too much time away from him in her greenhouse
Yeah.
with their plants.
Okay.
Yeah, I
She said,
wonder why.
She said, leave me to my plants. He says, okay, I'll leave you to your plants.
I don't think it mattered. Considering like how the rest of the ladies died, I think she was gonna die anyways.
Yeah.
And then who was the next person?
The next lady I had was the one who was force-fed bloody body parts.
What was her name though?
That was Regina, who I think is the third
Regina.
wife. Regina.
Okay.
That one.
Because
That one was super
That
gross.
sounds like that would be. I mean, all these ways of dying would be bad, but
like
that one
also
would be
fucked
pretty
up,
bad.
but like
Yeah.
I guess every wife had something he didn't like about them, and her thing was that she ate too much, and so he fed her to death, basically. Pretty dark.
Okay, who's the next one?
So Drinky Lady was my next one. Had her head slammed into a wine bottle on the table, and it went through her eye.
That was the cheesiest.
Yeah,
death,
I
probably.
missed that one. When did that? When did you see
So
that?
it's in the dining room, so you have to go to the mirror in the dining room
Like the
you know, by
long
the-
table, like by the fireplace.
where you find the poker and
Okay,
stuff.
yeah, I don't know if I remember the mirror being in there.
Yeah, there's a mirror.
That's kind of a lackluster death compared to the others.
Yeah,
slammed her head into a wine bottle on the table and it went through her eye. Yeah, it's
But-
okay.
So that was Victoria. She was the fourth wife.
and
Yeah.
then
And her problem was that she drank too much.
Oh, and then there's one more, right?
Couple more.
Oh, two more.
So yeah,
Who's next?
the talkie lady had her.
You lady.
Talkie.
So I didn't do names. I just talkie lady had her neck broken in what looked like a head twisting device.
Yeah, Leonora.
Yeah, I missed that one too.
You
Dang,
missed that one?
I missed that
Okay.
one.
You should go back and watch that one. That's a good death. That's a shocking one.
Oh,
Yeah, it's like slowly twisting her head.
Until
Yeah.
her neck
Ooh,
snaps.
Yeah.
It's a pretty.
sounds like something from like the Saw movie or something.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah.
And they actually show. I mean, like I know it's all like acting. It's fake, but they show these deaths. I feel like if a game like this came out now, it would cut away. They wouldn't show these things.
Yeah.
They show it. They show it all.
Yeah. All right, and then the lady who had her head chopped off in the head chopping chair.
Yeah, the last
Marie.
wife, Marie. Yeah.
Marie, who is
The his
boyfriend.
assistant. Yeah.
Gaston.
And she was like, were all of his wives like his magician assistants or just her? They only showed her doing it.
Good
but
question, actually. She definitely was, and then she ran away with Gaston, and that was her thing. That
She
did wrong.
tried to.
She tried to. She was the smartest of the five, but she still got killed.
Yeah.
Well, but she also that led to his death too, right? So-
Yeah. And then, like, on a side note, like, there's some of the deaths that you can miss. Like, Cyrus gets killed and Harriet gets killed. And if the chase scene, if you run around to the right places, you can find their bodies, which are some
Yeah,
interesting
like, because
scenes.
I missed, I saw hers because he takes her hair and puts it on as a wig.
Okay, that's the
like
best
Dawn
one.
does, yeah. But since I didn't get the like cross at the end, I didn't see the other dude's like body.
Cyrus.
Yeah.
Oh, and Mike, the telephone man, too. I
Yeah,
forget where his-
he's actually in the passageways as you're coming down.
Oh, yeah.
Right,
yeah.
he falls over, like, his dead body. Yeah.
Man, there's a lot of things you can miss if you're
Yeah.
not diligent.
Yeah, you gotta click everywhere, Nicky.
Gotta click them all.
Gotta click them all.
So obviously I failed the challenge, I guess.
Yeah,
Which means you have to rap.
Yeah,
I know. I was
didn't-
just gonna say they all had stuff shoved down their throat because that was like I thought that was like gonna be the, unifying thing.
Yeah, and then Adrian had her face ripped in half.
Yeah.
When that scene alone, like watching that at like 9 or 10 was probably a little too young. Like I had nightmares
yeah.
about
Yeah.
that for
Yeah.
so. Even though like there's other scenes that are maybe worse, but like that was what stuck in my brain for years.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure, man. That was
Spooky.
super graphic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
love it.
All right, so I guess
So-
we're gonna have to wrap.
Eric, did you?
Oh, I didn't know any of the names, so
You failed the challenge.
Talky lady.
talky
Alcohol
lady, drinky lady.
Drinky lady. You're so ridiculous. Like, you can tell me if we're finding a boss and, like, their pattern after, like, 2 seconds. Like, yeah, they go up, down, and then after they shoot, you gotta duck and do this, but you can't remember people's names.
I mean, there's a lot
This
of
is how
dialogue in
Eric's
this
brain
game.
works.
It's true.
All right, well, I guess we're wrapping. Oh, no.
You want to join us, Michael?
I think I will.
Yeah, I mean, since you guys are both, like, studio recorded rap artists, it's just me over here holding it down for the regular people.
Yeah, good luck, Nicky.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to keep up.
Oh.
No, I'm joking.
All right, well, let's wrap it up, guys. Wrap it up.
Hit that beat. Years ago, an evil onset near the town of Nipawamset, a dark magician, Zoltan Karnavash, unleashed an evil. Oh my gosh. Until then, his magic wasn't real, so he found a way to feel. An ancient entity, possessive even, resembling a horrible, bloody demon. Karna went crazy and murdered his wives, finding creative ways to end their lives. Stabbing, drowning, suffocation, and a guillotine chair of decapitation. But the evil was sealed for 100 years, until Adrian Delaney discovered in fear and possessed her husband, Donald Gordon, when he bought Karna's old mansion for them. And soon Dawn was not acting right, but it was too late. She couldn't fight, so Adrian better hurry. She has to get out of the house before she's killed, no doubt, running away from Dawn's evil laugh before the demon rips her face in half. I hope it's not too gory for ya. It's not just a game, it's Phantasmagoria!
Say it again, I'm the #1 husband. Oh, Adrian, you can run, you can hide, but you're probably gonna die. I've been possessed, this is such a mess. I must confess, this has got me stressed. Don't worry about the phone guy, he was a pest. Let's caption this photo, #blessed. Say cheese, freeze. I've lost my keys, you really think you can run from me? This is my best killing spree. Watch me intensely laugh with glee and have the audacity to plead not guilty.
I'm a snake demon monster with a passion for heads. I can see that you're gonna show off my threads. No one doesn't hide, they're gonna rip you to shreds. I'm friends with the squatters, but somehow they're dead. No one ever asks how a snake demon feels. I want more in my life than human corpse meals. Got a passion for yoga and a new set of wheels. Can I dress up like a lady with a skirt and high heels? Like window shopping on a warm sunny day. Stop by the cafe, try the sorbet. Made a human skull into a new ashtray. Pay for the valet, but in a bad way. But I don't like books, so please stop reading. You're seeing a poem that will affect my well-being. You can see that you won't stop proceeding. Guess I'll flee into this book for the time being.
Whoa, good raps, you guys.
Yeah,
Yeah,
this is pretty good
fire,
too.
spitting fire. I think I'm trying to challenge myself more, if you've noticed.
Yeah.
Like, my raps have gotten harder.
They've gotten better every episode,
Thank
too.
you.
I mean,
Yeah, I feel like
It's
you're
hard
better.
when you don't really have much experience and then, like, you're just rapping with someone who's, like, wrote rap songs before, you're trying to keep up.
I have not written anything decent. So
Whatever.
well, neither have I.
oh.
But, Michael, didn't you made that beat, right?
Yeah, I made the beat. Just
And-
kind of used some of the themes from the game.
I know, I
and just
love
kind
it.
of actually, it was in 3/4 time in the game. Had to change
Wow.
it to 4/4 time, which is weird, but I think it made a good.
I think it
good
that
rap
sounds
beat.
awesome. Yeah, it
You guys-
really really reminds me of the game. Like Did you directly sample the game?
No. Yeah, I just used Noteworthy Composer to kind of lay it out.
Wow.
Nice.
And
That's
then
awesome.
convert it back to MP3. Kind of combined a few
You're
things
so
together.
talented.
Oh, you guys are talented.
That's awesome. But yeah, I just love the idea of using music from the game, like in our beat. That's just neat.
Yeah, it sounds just like the game.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So good job, Michael.
Oh, well, shucks. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, Nikki, are you excited to learn about the next game?
I don't know, man. You told me it was a bad game, so that's all that I know.
It really couldn't be bad because it features one of our favorite people.
Oh, the only bad game that I can think of is that Superman one that you bought.
Superman 64.
Yeah,
God.
Superman 64.
Another
But
classic.
Superman's not really one of our favorite people, per se.
Former NBA player. He's in a lot of commercials.
Michael Jordan's NBA game.
Is he in the general commercials?
Yes.
Is he in the Gold Bond commercials?
Yes.
Does he
I think I know who it
have
is.
his own line of jewelry at K Jewelers?
Yes.
I know who it is.
All right, yeah, we're playing Shaq Fu.
Shaq Fu, which is a basketball game,
And
right?
I assume it's excellent since it has Shaq, and he's not the type of person to just sponsor any product.
Yeah, he doesn't just put his name on anything.
No, he's super selective about, what he's
Yeah.
to make sure he's sponsoring quality stuff.
He only does meaningful things that are going to touch lives of many. Okay.
Okay.
So this is a basketball game.
No, it's a
right?
fighting game.
What?
Shaq has to go to the Magic World and save Nizu from the evil mummy Set Ra.
He has to go to the Magic World.
The
So-
second world. The second world.
So
It's called the
is this
second
like
world.
Okay.
so is this like a Shaq Mortal Kombat game?
Yes.
And what system is it on?
It's on a lot of systems, but I have it on Super Nintendo.
Oh man,
So we are going to be playing.
I'm always
the Super
hesitant
Nintendo.
about playing the bad games because it's like you know what you're getting into, but also you don't know what you're getting into. You just know it's bad, but you don't know how bad is bad.
I don't think this challenge.
I'm nervous.
I don't think the challenge is that bad. I did it in about 20 minutes before we recorded this podcast.
Okay, but you're Eric and I'm Nicky, so you're like way better at video games than me. So let's see what is the challenge?
Oh, I think I already said it, but I'll say it again.
You didn't say it.
Rescue Nizu from the evil mummy Set Ra.
Oh, okay. You said that's what the game was about, but you didn't say that was my challenge.
No, that's your challenge.
So is that beating the game?
Yes.
Okay. So I have to beat the game.
You have to beat the game
Is there
by
easy
rescuing Nizu from the evil mummy Set Ra.
Is there another way to beat the game?
Other than rescuing Nizu from the evil mummy Set Ra.
Yeah, is there another way?
No.
Okay, so just beat the game. All right.
I wanted to come up with something more creative than just beat the game, but I really couldn't for this because the game is so short.
Then you never played it before, right?
Yeah, up until
At least
about
not before today.
a couple hours ago, I hadn't played it.
Way to take a risk, Eric.
Yeah,
Playing something or picking something when you've never played.
I played, for those 20 minutes and I beat it. So
Well, but you had already had it picked, though. You played it after you picked it,
yeah, it's true.
so you didn't know.
Yeah, just to make sure the challenge wasn't going to be too hard. I put it on easy. I beat it on easy, so it was easy.
Well,
It
you need
appropriately
to beat
named
it on hard.
difficulty
Like,
setting. No way.
yeah, because easy should be an option for you. Easy's my option. Get off my option, babe.
Have you played this game yet?
All I want to know is there a fatality in the game? Are there fatalities?
Yeah.
And do they include basketballs knocking people's heads off?
Right?
No, I don't-
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'll have to get back to you on that. I think it's
Or it could rip their head off and then dribble it and dunk it. Oh, that'd be dope.
that would be really cool. But having played through the game for 20 minutes, I don't think there is blood, but
Okay, we probably shouldn't talk about it.
I
too
think there
much.
might be a censorship code where you can unlock blood.
We probably shouldn't talk about it too much though, because we got to do a whole episode about it.
I figure most of the episode will be talking about Shaq, but
No.
maybe a little bit.
Featuring special guest Shaq, he's here, guys.
I
Oh my
wish.
God.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
He does live in Atlanta, I think.
Hey.
Like people see him around
he
all
might
the time.
come by.
Wow,
Shaq, if you're listening to this podcast, reach out to us. We will definitely have you as a guest host if you want.
yes. Thank you, Shaq.
Thank you, Shaq. All right. All right. Until next time.
Thank you guys again, by the way, for having me on here.
Oh yeah, dude.
Thanks for
This is
coming.
a blast. Loved it. Love you guys.
Yeah, you're the best.
A lot of fun.
Awesome. Yeah, it's so much fun.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.